Eileo guys, and welcome back. Today we have Demis's account, aka Wozwald, on Discord. This is going to be my new account format because it's just easier to do reviews and it makes them a lot less time consuming, which is great for the person that needs help or anyone curious about needing help, anyone just looking, and of course it allows me to do other videos as well. But today we do have Demis, aka Wozwald, on Discord, and I've already went ahead and checked out his mon box. One thing I did want to bring up though is, for the most part, many of your mons are gemmed correctly and I don't really see much of a problem with them. I'm sure that they do their job, but your main problem that I can see is mainly crit based mons that you're kind of not committing to. Like your Eileo, for example, he's at 84 crit, but if you check out his crit rate gem, it's only plus 14, which isn't a big offender, but someone like Yaksha over here who already starts off with, you know, 40%, not actually 40% crit rate on her, and it looks like you might have her booked up. You have her booked up, so her first skill has 50% and the other one still has 30%, but overall with her current gems, she's sitting at, you know, about 55% crit rate on her 5-star skill, and that's not a big deal. But when I come over here and I try to check out maybe her other gems, I understand you might be trying to go for a broken set here and get her with higher crit, but having 40% crit rate already on her and you're not even able to hit just the 50% threshold, I mean, for her 5-star skill is not very good. You're not really maximizing her damage. Another one that I wanted to bring up is your Moonflower is fine. Is your Dark Gatito. Again, there's like a slight lack of commitment even though you do have crit rate gems. And maybe it's not crit rate subs, but if you can't get max crit rate on his intuition set, then I would just say do intuition. The same thing with your Lucy over here. It's like you're going in, but just maybe not enough. Maybe it's a sub issue, but that's something I just wanted to bring up with you because it's really holding your nukers back and it's really holding a mon like Sura back. So just keep that in mind. But I've already went ahead and made some Gollum teams for you as well, or not so much Gollum teams for you, but just a template of who you could use for the golems. But let's just go right through here and we'll start with B7. So this may be your B10 team, but we won't worry about that at the moment. So for B7, what I recommend actually for you would of course be your Wood Odin, since you do have her at Evo 3 and level 60, so she's already built. You can bring in your Banshee, you can bring in your Mowgli and your Tigger, Tiger, whatever. You should not require heals, but if you did require heals, you could always take out Tigger, Tiger, Mowgli, whatever heck you want to call him, and drop in your, you have a Wood Artemis instead as a healer right now, and that should work for your B7 team. Again, you don't have to follow this template. This is just to give you an idea of what you should run. Of course, all of your mons for all of the golems, try to aim for level 60, Evo 2 minimum. And then moving on to your B8 team, I picked out Mona, your Yaksha, after you fix her if possible. She just needs a little bit tweaking and she will be alright. Then you also have, I believe I saw a Water Mowgli somewhere. You might not have her. She might be in your storage. Yeah, she might be in your storage. You don't technically have to have her. You could always just bring in Dark Sea Star and perhaps your Merlin if you're using him right now. If you choose to invest in your Merlin, if I can find him. Where is he? Yep, your Water Merlin. You can run something like that. If not, you could always get rid of Merlin if you somehow feed him in the future and just throw in a Water Mona and you should be good to go. Just make sure your mons are booked up if possible. And this should be a solid B8 team. You should be coming in at right around a minute, maybe slightly less, depending on how the run goes. But with this team, you should definitely be able to farm that very, very efficiently. And then for your B9 team, I picked out your Fire Leo. You can also bring in Fire Wildfang, which Leo's skill is slightly better at the moment. Again, you could bring in Dark Moonflower, not necessarily, but you could bring her in. I also recommend your Fire Succubus that you're working on, and either Fire Draka, because I see that you have a Fire Draka, or your Fire Siegfried, one of the two. It doesn't matter. I mean, if it works, it works. I would recommend maybe bringing in a squad like this, because with you investing into your Fire Siegfried or your Fire Draka, you're giving yourself a mon that you can use, especially on a Siphon set, on other areas of the game, which is great. Absolutely amazing. And then the other mons that you have here, you don't necessarily have to use them. I would prefer hard hitters and a mon like Fire Succubus that has some utility with her defense down, which benefits the hard hitters for their AoE moves. But again, this is just a template. This is something that I picked out. Feel free to use whoever that you want, but again, this should give you a solid time, and you should be clearing B9 without a problem, and hopefully a lot faster than what you were doing before. And then for your B10 team, this is not that great because you have two light tanks that don't really do much damage, especially like Odin, and then you have one nuker and no sapper. So in my opinion, I took out Light Odin and I took out your Light Bulby. You could definitely bring Dark Moonflower in there, and I would also, you have two Fire Purses in your storage right now, so I'll use Miho instead of Fire Purse right now because your Fire Purse in storage. But you could run Light Nike, Fire Purse, Dark Moonflower, and maybe another Fire Purse if your mons are geared up greatly. Ideally, you can also substitute your Light Nike with Light Odin. You do have a Light Shiva as well, so you could substitute her with someone else. But this is pretty much just a starter team. So Dark Moonflower, Light Nike, 2 times Fire Purse if possible. If not, if you have Draka or a Siegfried on a fire set, I mean not a fire set, but on a Siphon set, bring those in there as well with your Fire Purse. Remember, I'm just using Miho as a placeholder for Purse, and that should be a solid starting team for you. Now eventually you're going to let go of Light Nike, and you could just bring in both of your Purses if you want for their sap, and run 2 wave clearers and 2 sappers. And as long as they're on a Siphon set and your mons are gemmed up properly, which I do recommend you checking out my videos on, you should be solid for B10. I mean, your time should be hopefully around 1:30. Remember, you can do Fire Siegfried or Fire Draka. Since you do have a Fire Draka though, I would probably prefer Fire Draka on a Siphon set if possible. Again, these are just recommendations of what mons you can use, but you definitely have a good, overall good pool of mons that you can choose from. And do take in mind, you might need to pause the video or come back to this, but the Gollum teams that I just picked out for you, a lot of those mons, at least I would say 3/4 to a half of those mons, you can translate to the later dragons, because I can see that you're doing dragons already, but you might be bottlenecking somewhere because you've invested a lot into light and a couple of dark mons, but your RGB mons are really slacking, which is what I wanted to bring up next. This might be due to time constraints, just not having enough time to farm or anything like that, but I would definitely recommend that you try to at least invest in a couple more mons, getting them to level 60 of each element. That was one of my biggest suggestions. And you do also have a decent pool of Sea Strikers, and for the most part many of them are gem fine. It's like you're trying to run them on leech sets, which is perfectly okay. I would just say kind of maybe check them out again, because a couple of them you're kind of, I wouldn't say compromising, but you might be compromising on their damage with the way that you have them built. I mean, I could show you, but again, I'm not trying to make this video 80 minutes long. So if you do have a question, Wozwald, definitely hit your boy up on Discord. And one last thing, so addressing your Tower of Chaos problem, especially with floor 80, because you will have this same exact problem on floor 100. Your main problem is you lack any crowd control mon. Like, you have your Water Sewer here, but he's not built up. He's at this state, he's not usable. I would recommend getting him on Intuition set instead and get max crit for his stun. But number one, you don't have any crowd control mons, and other than your Dark Moonflower as a nuker, you don't have any other nukers that are built up to a standard that they need to for you to clear the content, at least, you know, quite reliably. I'm not going to say every time you try it out, but quite reliably. I think that is your main problem. So you need to definitely try and fix your Syrah if possible. Just get him max crit rate. That way you have a level 50, level 60 mon that can CC, which is a key part in taking care of Dark Odin and Dark Hades. Once you get to him, then you need, you know, work on your Lucy, work on your Gatito as nukers. Your Dark Moonflower, again, she's fine, but work on them as well, and try to bring in maybe a mon that can defense down Dark Odin and Dark Hades. Like, stun him, apply defense down on him if possible, and nuke him. Like, burn him to the ground if possible. That's really the best way to get through it. There's other methods of doing Tower of Chaos, but that's just the way that I know, so I can't definitely say that I'm right. But if not, definitely check out, I think, the leaderboards for Tower of Chaos, because they have some interesting mons that they use to clear it out as well. But overall, your account is perfectly fine. Again, I don't want to sound too redundant again, but invest into more elemental mons. Definitely try to get your Fire Draka up, because you do have a Siphon set on him. And Evo 2 is fine, but definitely try to get him up to level 60, which you are working on. And work on your Dark Nukers, because you're going to need them, especially for Colossus later on if you want to get into that. And I wouldn't worry too much about your Sea Strikers right now. You do have a good group of them, but I would focus on Golems first. But that's pretty much it for this account review. I definitely hope I addressed all your main issues. Wozwald, interesting name there. But I definitely hope that I addressed all of your issues here. Again, you can check out this video and maybe pause it to get an idea of what you want. But overall, your understanding of gems isn't perfect, but that might just be due to subs, or just maybe, you know, accidents here and there that you never notice, which is perfectly fine. But that's pretty much it. If you have any questions, please leave a comment below. I will be glad to help you out. But again, thank you for allowing me to review your account, and I'll see you guys next video. Peace out.